Hey y'all, this is Doug here, part of the transfer portal presented by No Context College Football. And this week on Tiermaker, I am ranking every single Heisman winner, starting from the year 2000 and going onward. So, criteria, no criteria. Like I said, I use a sliding scale, I rank everybody against each other. So, normally, in some cases, guys will be S tiers, will be A tiers, and vice versa. So let's just get started. I have the template up and ready. See how this goes. Alrighty. Starting off with Baker Mayfield. Baker, the transfer from Texas Tech. Great story. Walk on. Texas Tech wasn't able to get a scholarship, transferred to Oklahoma, balled out, became a stud, got drafted by the Browns, got dumped by the Browns, and is currently homeless. A lot of it self-inflicted, but also the Browns have been a pretty bad organization. I digress. We're here to talk about college, not the pros. Baker Mayfield, stud, great quarterback during his heyday. I'll thing is, there's a lot of great quarterbacks. Baker is an S tier. I do think that Baker can be A tier. So for that, I will go with right now. I'll put Baker in A because he was pretty outstanding during his year. Um, so I'll give Baker an A for now. Up next, we got Bryce Young. Bryce Young was outstanding. The SEC championship literally won that Heisman for him. Same time, I'm Team Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett I thought, was a better quarterback throughout the year. So I'm gonna but like I said, Bryce is amazing. I'm not gonna put him C tier because, like I said, Bryce was outstanding, but also guys I don't think that should have won the Heisman will be lower than guys that deserve the Heisman. So Bryce is a C for now. Also, while I'm here, this D tier should not exist. Like I said, all these guys won the Heisman. They're pretty damn good. For that, nobody's getting D or failed grades here. Up next, we have Cam Newton, the guy that somehow transferred to my hated school from a school that I also hated, from Florida to Auburn. As much as I hate Auburn, Cam was Auburn. Generational performance throughout the year. Deserved Heisman, deserved first overall pick, deserved MVP in NFL. Please give Cam a job in the league, backup, starter for a low end team. Please just give him a job. Cam Newton, S tier, pretty easy. Not much left to debate. Up next, we got Carson Palmer from USC. So this would be 2002. Carson was great. The one issue I will give in regards to quarterbacks is that there's a sliding scale. And I do think as years go on that quarterbacks in past eras will get punished unless they're absurd monsters. And I don't think Carson was an absurd monster. I do remember the only quarterbacks here I'll say I'm fuzzy on are Chris Winkie and Eric Crouch. Everybody from Carson Palmer all the way up to 2021 I have a clear recollection with. So Carson was that guy, but same time he's not that outstanding enough to where he'll be A or S tier. So B tier for Carson Palmer. Chris Winkie is next. Another one. Runaway Heisman winner, outstanding quarterback. I just don't think that he would be A or S tier. Like I said earlier, new quarterbacks had ruined it for older quarterbacks. So I do think Gwinke would be B tier. He did deserve a Heisman over Josh Heupel, who ended up beating him in a title game that year. But I digress. Derrick Henry. So Henry in the pros, I feel like was a lot better than Henry in the college, which makes sense because pros should be players in college better than players in college. At the same time, I feel like I didn't care enough for Derrick Henry in college. He was a great player. This I do believe was the McCaffrey year. Um, I do think that Henry, at least for other running backs, I mean, it's actually, you think about it, there's not really because Reggie automatically is up top. And then you got Mark Ingram, who had another debate. So if it's debatable, if the Heisman's debatable, you get knocked down a peg. So Henry is just C tier by default. Smitty, Devonta Smith. Hate him for what happened in a national title game his freshman year, but he's an Eagle, so cancels out. In terms of being the receiver, first receiver to win it in ages. He's A tier because he was the best receiver. I'm not saying S tier because I don't think he was the offense. He was great, but Mac Jones and Najee Harris also finished in the top 5 for Heisman voting. And it isn't like a clear like best player in the whole entire earth thing like Reggie Bush situation. So I think he's A, but there's room for S tier debate because, like I said, when we deal with a few other USC quarterbacks, it's room. So Eric Crouch is up next. So I don't think he should have won the Heisman either. I thought it should have been Rex Grossman, and that's saying something because Florida, Georgia does not mix. Rex Grossman, I do think, was the better player, but Crouch won. Can't change that. Great player, but like I said, if it's a debate, see, gotta follow my rules here. Jameis falls in. Jameis was a runaway, outstanding quarterback, one of the best, even though you couldn't see. Glad he's getting a shot with New Orleans again. Hopefully he's healthy, and then you can parlay that to a long-term gig. But I digress. He is very talented. There's not really much to say. Like you had Jameis to Benjamin a lot. Then you had O'Leary was another one. They had a lot of speedsters. James Walter Jr. was one. I'm trying to make sure I don't get my arrows mixed up with Florida State because Dalvin was after Jameis. But before Dalvin, they had a few other running backs. Freeman was definitely running back. But yeah, so Florida State had talent, but like I wouldn't say necessarily top end talent like Joe Burrow, which I'll talk about later, or Mac Jones did with Smitty, and Harris and Waddle when he was healthy. So I put Jameis in that A tier. Great quarterback, worthy Heisman, but not Cam Newton. And that's okay. It's okay. They both accomplished the same thing. Both won a Heisman, both won a national title. Totally respectable. Jason White, absolute stud. Even though that boy could not really walk far because his knees are shot, always played under shotgun. Great quarterback for OU. The only issue is he falls under that same trap that the older quarterbacks do. It's B tier just because of the sheer nature of what happened in this era compared to the era back then. I think that you probably see that breakthrough of guys probably starting from Tim Tebow, Sam Bradford, where the eras kind of differ off. But yeah, no. Jason White's B tier. He has a case for A tier, but like I said, sliding scale, trying to keep the top limited, trying to keep good spread. Don't want tiers to be lonely. Next up, Joe Burrow, arguably the greatest season of college football in history. Not really much to talk about there. S tier by default. Really not much to talk about there. Next up, Johnny Football. Probably had, in terms of these guys, probably what, top two, top three Heisman moment between him versus Alabama, RG3 versus Oklahoma, and then Reggie Bush versus Fresno State. Yeah, Manziel's A tier. The S tier, they won natties, so I can't really put them there. And Manziel did have talent, great talent. Ryan Switzer. Actually, was it no Switzer was UNC, sorry. Swope. The one dude with all the concussions. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on names right now. Mike Evans was pretty damn good. But you know, I A&M had talent, but Manziel was pretty damn good. Don't say he was talent dependent because that boy could play in college. So A tier. Next up, Kyler Murray. Kyler deserved the Heisman. People thought Tua in the race for a long while, but Kyler was better than Tua. I think at the same time, I don't think it was as obvious as Baker is, and I don't think that he's a C tier because Kyler should have won the Heisman. So putting him B tier off strength of just the strength. Next up, Lamar Jackson. Boy was a god, best in the nation. Man was electric. Took Florida State to the grave. Same time though, lost to Kentucky, and that's why you can't be S tier because S tier cannot lose to Kentucky. It's the sheer nature of that. But like I said, amazing quarterback. Clearly one of the better Heisman candidates here. Marcus Mariota. Worthy Heisman winner. Same time, I didn't really care for his game like that. It's just something that bugged. It's not a personal bias because I do love Oregon. Like Dennis Dixon was probably my favorite quarterback of all time to watch. But I don't know. It's just something about him. Like he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He earned the Heisman. But I don't think that he's on these guys' tier, this top tier of S's or A's, and he's not a C. So B. Mark Ingram. His case is peculiar because with Ingram, one of the issues that we have here is that people thought Toby Gerhart should have won, and Toby did have more rushing yards, but Toby had also a lot more attempts, so his averages are down. You got an East Coast, West Coast split there. I do think Mark correctly won it, but since it was such a heavily contested debate, I'm definitely putting him on a C tier because it isn't like a clear they shouldn't have won it like Crouch, or I think that somebody was better like Rice or Henry. But yeah, Mark, very contested Heisman race. So I have to go there. Next up, we have Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart, worthy Heisman, one of the best that we've seen. It isn't really as memorable as Reggie, but everybody groups those two together, Dwayne Jarrett, like they group Steve Smith, like they group all those USC talent together. But at the same time, when you say Reggie, people think of Reggie. They don't have the same notoriety with Leinart. So Leinart is an A tier, but he's not an S tier like his counterpart coming up here. Reggie Bush, Mr. Heisman, one of the best to ever do it. It's crazy because he even outshone Vince Young. And you know how hard it is to outshine Vince Young during this season, like for a trophy? Same time, though, Vince got the last laugh. He got the Heisman. So, he got the Heisman. But, Reggie was amazing. Also, if I didn't put Reggie in S tier, everybody in this planet Earth would kill me. So, yeah, I gotta put Reggie up there. Okay. Next up, RG3. So RG3 had a tale of two cases. One hand, one of the best quarterback that entire year, even better than Andrew Luck. Um, Game against Oklahoma was probably the Heisman moment on here. Generational talent. Counterpoint, Baylor was kind of butt for a team that has a player in the Heisman race. Baylor was kind of butt. And it wasn't like a G5 where you're compiling it because you're the only source of offense. But RG3 was great. It's just that you can't dredge the mess out of it. I'm going to give them the Lamar treatment. They're both A tier, but personally, I would put RG3 higher. But if I did that, I would get killed as well. Sam Bradford. It's where I was talking about earlier, that big chasm for quarterback play. Sam Bradford was a god at Oklahoma. He was amazing. Because nobody was really putting up numbers like he was in terms of passing, and Oklahoma had the best offense in the country that year. So I do think Bradford is S tier. The only thing that's a slight knock on him is the moment, but I think that the run, this is a run against Oklahoma State, was his moment, and Bradford is a deserved Heisman winner. It sucks about what happened with his pro career injuries, but deserved winner. Timothy Tebow, another one. Would Like I said, you guys issue RG3 where the team's kind of butt. Same time though, it's Tim Tebow. I'm gonna put him A because, like I said, I have to be consistent with them. So yeah, I'm being consistent. So Tim Tebow's an A. There's room to maneuver, so I'm not really like mad at it. Like I said, all these guys are pretty close. Like the only ones like I have true objections with are Eric Crouch and like these bottom three here. Ignore Mark Ingram, Eric Crouch, Derrick Henry, and Bryce Young. Those are the three I have key objections with, and don't think they should have won. But that's only when like all these guys can maneuver around. You can choose whoever. Like the other thing I will fight you on is that Cam and Joe definitely are S tier in terms of Heisman winners. And finally, we have Troy Smith. Troy Smith is one of the guys I don't think should have won Heisman. I thought Brady Quinn was the better quarterback. Same time though, Ohio State did become the national runner-up. They were the only undefeated team throughout the whole season up until the national title game. So I get why you won. Troy Smith was good. I just don't think he deserved it. Also, not really a memorable Heisman winner. So last, here are my final rankings. S tier, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow, Reggie Bush, and Sam Bradford. A tier, Baker, Devonta Smith, Jameis, Manziel, Lamar Jackson, Matt Leinart, RG3, and Tim Tebow. B tier, Carson Palmer, Chris Weinke, Jason White, Kyler Murray, Marcus Mariota. C tier, Bryce Young, Derrick Henry, Eric Crouch, Mark Ingram, Troy Smith. So don't really have any quips and barbs or jokes about this because this is like actually like a topic that's more serious in a sense, but that's all I have for you guys. So until next time, this is Doug here saying enjoy. And if you do argue with me, I will respond on Twitter at Always Say Facts.